Hi everybody, welcome back. It's been a while. We got kind of busy with Sebastian's science project. I am so glad, by the way, to see how much everybody's enjoying those videos. So, I hope you keep watching. I hope that everyone gets motivated to do something fun and educational, the way that Sebastian did. So, I am going to kind of continue with my list of top 100 movies, though. Last time we left off at number 68, so we're going to pick it up there at number 67 today. Again, I'm still working on that middle chunk that takes up approximately half the list, just to kind of reiterate. This is the same group of movies that I've watched them so many times that I just really have them memorized, and they live in my heart and my brain. And anytime they're on, I kind of can't control myself. I just have to watch them. So number 67 is The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, from 1994. This is my Australian road movie. So the fact that it's not Mad Max, again, tells you a little something about my sensibilities and how apparently I prefer kitsch to legitimate cinema. So that tells you a little something right now. But it is a lot of fun to watch. If you've never seen it, it does have a young Hugo Weaving, a young Guy Pearce. If you're not okay with people playing with gender roles, this probably is not the movie for you. But if you are a fan of Rocky Horror Picture Show, or you're just okay with watching stuff like that, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun to watch. Okay, moving on. Number 66 is Gattaca from 1997. So Gattaca is a science fiction movie. It has Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. What I really like about it is just the way that it sort of predicted the whole conversation about designer babies and some of the issues that may potentially come up down the road if we keep going that way. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. I do really like it when movies are able to do that, particularly in the sci-fi realm. So yeah. All right, number 65 is Labyrinth from 1986. So I mean, there's not a whole lot I think that needs to be said about this. David Bowie is of course incredible in this. Jennifer Connelly does an adequate job. I think just for her age, it's like you wouldn't have expected too marvelous of a performance from any young actress, but I think she did an admirable job. The character is just written to be not the most compelling, so she did fine. But it's a lot of fun, particularly because of the Muppet work, and of course David Bowie's performance, the musical numbers, everything about it's just really fun. It's really iconic. So I cannot deny how much I love this movie, even though it may not be completely perfect. It might have its flaws. I still adore it. Okay, so number 64 is Requiem for a Dream from the year 2000. This is not going to be the last Darren Aronofsky film on my list. It probably is the most graphic, the hardest to watch, but it hits a really strong, significant chord with me regarding substance abuse and the different forms that can take and how that can affect, all different types of people. It's just really beautifully done. And then of course, anytime that Clint Mansell does the soundtrack for a Darren Aronofsky movie, I'm just all over it. So I love and adore that movie. It isn't necessarily the easiest one to watch, but I just love watching it. So that one's not something that frequently happens on my list, but definitely not the only Darren Aronofsky, but probably one of the only ones that isn't an easy watch. It's just a good watch. Okay, so moving on to number 63 is The First Wives Club from 1996. This is a movie, if you've never seen it, has Bette Midler, Goldie Hawn, and Diane Keaton. It also has, by the way, oh, Lord Almighty, she just fell out of my brain. Oh gosh, she fell out of my brain. Professor McGonagall, Maggie Smith, is in it, and she's wonderful. Pierce Bronson Pinchot is also in it. It's just a really funny movie, but it's really more so than anything, it's like a breakup movie. Like if you just had your heart broken, it's one of those kind of really empowering types of movies to watch, and I can't deny that I have fallen back on that movie many times in that kind of scenario. So I really like it. And then of course all those actors are incredible. So never going to be a bad time. Number 62 is Love Potion Number 9 from 1992. So this is potentially a not very well-known Sandra Bullock movie, as one of her first movie roles. Tate Donovan's also in it. They're both very good. It is based on the song Love Potion Number 9. So like the plot of the movie does center around the same idea that song is about. It's a little, hokey in that that's what the plot is about, but quite frankly, I think they pull it off as best as can be done. And I think it's hilarious. And yes, it has a cliche, sort of like the nerdy girl turns into like the gorgeous girl type of scene. But you know what? It's Sandra Bullock, so it's okay. She just knows how to do that well. I really like it. Okay. Number 61 is Amélie from 2001. Amélie is a little French film from Jean-Pierre Jeunet. He is a very, very good director, but this movie in particular is just very like colorful and bright and hopeful and so positive, but at the same time kind of like lovely and sad, and like it just has like it's able to hit the sweet spot in lots of different spectrums, lots of different areas in the emotional spectrum, and it's just really sweet, and I really like it for that. Audrey Tautou is of course gorgeous and hilarious, and so much fun to watch. So I highly recommend if you've never seen Amélie. Number 60 is Vanilla Sky. This one's from 2001. Actually, so Vanilla Sky, this is the movie that it's directed by Cameron Crowe, has Tom Cruise, Penelope Cruz, Cameron Diaz. It is actually a remake, not everybody knows this, of a Spanish language film called Open Your Eyes, or actually Abre los Ojos, from 1997 by Alejandro Amenabar. The remake, though, is actually pretty loyal to the original. They both star Penelope Cruz. They're both excellent. The only reason that Vanilla Sky and not the original Open Your Eyes is on my list is just because I watched Vanilla Sky first, and at the end of the day, Vanilla Sky is the one I have more access to, and I just got more used to watching. So that's just the one I reach for. When I have the ability to find Abre los Ojos, I do watch it, and it is very good. But Vanilla Sky is just the one that I truly reach for more. Okay, so moving on to number 59, that's Never Ending Story from 1984. I do have the original on my list. It just so happens that I have one of these like double feature versions of it, just because that's just the way I found it. So I bought it. But I really like Never Ending Story, as most people who grew up in my generation. It is, fantasy. It's fun. It appeals to like children of a certain age. The music is wonderful. Like the imagery is wonderful. So, I mean, it's so iconic, especially to my generation. It's, I think, difficult for anybody my age to not at least have a soft spot in their heart for it. But I mean, it's definitely, there's no way it wasn't going to be on my list of top movies. Okay, moving on to number 58, Mission Impossible 1996. This is the original it's the original Mission Impossible that Tom Cruise was in. It's not the original Mission Impossible, because that is also itself a remake. But it is the one directed by Brian De Palma. It's the one where we first saw like Tom Cruise start pulling out the crazy stunt work and everything that has not since then become, so he's become so famous for. It's just like a lot of fun to watch, really high suspense, really heart pounding. I'm not usually one for lots of like mystery and intrigue necessarily in my movies, but this one, it's very well done. It's very well done. It's Brian De Palma. There's no question that it's going to be done well, but all of moving parts kind of work together on this one, and I really, really very much enjoy it, more so even than any of the other entries in the series. Okay, so moving on to number 57, that's Hairspray 1988. All right, so John Waters is one of my other favorite directors of all time. And just like with Charlie Chaplin, trying to figure out how to distill his film catalog to just one or two entries on my list was not easy. At the end of the day, I went with Hairspray because it is just, it's probably the most fun for me to watch. It may not necessarily be the one that I think is the most culturally relevant, or even necessarily the one that's like the best made. Certainly it's the one that's become the most popular. It has had a remake. It has had like a Broadway version. So certainly it's the more popular one. But I mean, just in terms of his films, it's the one that I feel like is the most fun to watch. Does also have a little bit of social commentary regarding racism in the United States around that time frame, but it has the original one has Divine in a wonderful role that's unlike any of the other ones that she's ever played, and Ricky Lake and Debbie Harry's in it. It's so much fun to watch. So it's the one that I ended up picking, not necessarily the only one I would have picked had I more room on the list, but hey, you gotta pick one. That's just the one I went with. Okay, so moving on to number 56. That is The Fly, 1986. So once again, Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum show up together on my list. If you've never seen The Fly, which by the way, this one with Jeff Goldblum in it from 1988 86, is itself a remake. The original one has Vincent Price, which is actually, I think, worth a watch for like the cultural relevance of it, not necessarily because it's like a great movie, but just to be kind of like a little bit more educated on the subject. This one far and away is the one that I prefer. It is a David Cronenberg film, so it is disgusting to watch, but oh my gosh, technically incredible, so impressive, and of course the performances are like captivating. The story itself is terrifying. Just there's very little that I can say about this movie that isn't like, you just have to watch it to know. So if you haven't, again, highly recommend. All right, moving on. Number 55 is Little Shop of Horrors. Sorry, I can't say it without singing it. 1986. So this is another remake, actually, but it's a lovely, very, very sweet little musical remake. This one has Rick Moranis. It is so stacked. Steve Martin, Bill Murray. It's like this stacked cast. Everybody in it is just brilliant and hilarious. The songs are so catchy, so awesome. I think this one also ended up with it came from Broadway. It was an original. Yeah, anyway. Very, very, very catchy tunes. Very, very awesome puppet work. Great voice work also. Just, oh my gosh, I love this movie so much. It's very, very good. Okay, I'm going to leave it off on number 54 from 1991, the original, the first, The Addams Family, that had like Angelica Houston and Raul Julia in it. This, of course, kind of like the Mission Impossible film, was a remake of like a show from like the 50s and 60s. I told you guys, I promised you last time that hopefully that shows up on camera. I would show you a picture of Sebastian's very first Halloween, in which his dad and I went as Morticia and Gomez Addams, and he was baby Pubert Addams. So hopefully everybody was able to get a good look at that. Clearly we are big fans. We always have been, and there are now so many versions of the Addams Family, but that's always going to be the one that is nearest to my heart. I think Raul Julia, Angelica Houston, and Christopher Lloyd were all and Christina Ricci were all just like irreplaceable in my mind, unimpeachable casting, and to me that's always going to be who the Addams Family are. So even though I grew up watching the original TV show, so that just goes to show you how well they did. But anyway, I'll go ahead and just stop there. I think I'll just have to pick it up at number 53 next time. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and just be safe.